Imagine, just for a moment, that you know the exact hour of your death. The sun is setting, and when it goes down, you must drink a cup of poison. Your friends are weeping around you. Your family has been sent away. The executioner is grinding the hemlock. In this situation, most of us would be paralyzed by terror. We would be bargaining, crying, or cursing our fate. But the man we are talking about today was laughing. He was rubbing his leg, enjoying the sensation of blood returning after his chains were removed. He was chatting about geometry and the nature of the soul. He was the calmest person in the room. That man was Socrates. Today, we are opening the final chapter of Socrates' life, recorded by his student Plato, in the Dialogue Phaedo. Why should we, modern people obsessed with anti-aging and longevity, care about a book on death written 2,400 years ago? Because we have it backwards. We think the goal of life is to stay alive as long as possible. Socrates argues that the goal of life is to practice dying. If you are anxious about the future, if you feel trapped by your desires, or if you are terrified of the end, this book is not just a story, it is a cure. To understand Phaedo, we must grasp one radical, earth-shattering concept. Philosophy is the practice of dying. Most people think death is the end of the self. Socrates thought death was the liberation of the true self. He believed that a human being is made of two things, a body and a soul. The body is heavy, confusing, and obsessed with pleasure, food, and sex. It is constantly distracting us with noise. The soul, on the other hand, is pure, invisible, and capable of seeing the truth. The core message of Phaedo is that life is a struggle between these two. For Socrates, the body is not just a vessel. It is a prison. It is a cage that traps the soul. Throughout our lives, the body tries to drag the soul down into the mud of sensory experience. The philosopher, the person who loves wisdom, spends their entire life trying to detach the soul from the body. Not by suicide, but by focusing on the eternal rather than the temporary. So when death finally comes, the philosopher doesn't panic. He says, "Finally, I have been trying to untie this knot for 70 years. Now I am free." Now let's dive into the 3 key insights that Socrates offers his weeping friends, insights that can change how you live today. Insight number 1. The body is the source of confusion. Socrates asks a simple question. Do we learn truth with our eyes and ears? We think we do. But he argues that our senses deceive us. A stick looks bent in water, but it is straight. We see a mirage in the desert. More importantly, the body demands attention. Think about how many hours a day you spend worrying about food, comfort, appearance, or sex. Socrates argues that every moment you spend servicing the body is a moment you are not serving the truth. He says, the body provides us with 1,000 distractions. It fills us with wants, desires, fears, and all sorts of illusions. This is incredibly relevant today. We live in an attention economy. Our phones, our ads, our food, everything is designed to hook the body and the senses. Socrates warns us, if you let your body drive the car, you will never reach the destination of wisdom. You must learn to close your eyes to see the truth. Insight number 2. The theory of recollection. We don't learn, we remember. One of his friends asks, but Socrates, how do we know the soul existed before we were born? Socrates uses a brilliant argument. He asks, do we know what absolute equality is? We have never seen 2 stones that are perfectly equal. In the physical world, everything is imperfect. Yet we have the concept of equality in our minds. We have the concept of perfect beauty and perfect justice, even though we have never seen them with our eyes. Where did these ideas come from? Socrates argues they couldn't come from the physical world. Therefore, our souls must have known them before we were born. This means learning is not putting new information into an empty container. Learning is recollection, anamnesis. It is remembering what you already know. This changes everything. It means you are not empty, you are not broken. You carry the seeds of eternal truth inside you right now. Your job in life is to clear away the fog of the body so you can remember who you really are. Insight number 3. The danger of Misology. Hating reason. This is perhaps the most practical advice in the book. As Socrates argues for the immortality of the soul, his friends keep finding holes in his logic. They get depressed. They feel like no argument can ever be trusted. Socrates stops them and gives a stern warning. He says, there is no greater evil one can suffer than to hate reasonable discourse. He calls this Misology, the hatred of logic arguments. It happens when we trust an argument, find out it's wrong, trust another, find out it's wrong, and eventually conclude that there is no truth. Everything is relative. It's all pointless. Socrates says, no. The problem isn't the truth. The problem is us. We are unskilled. We must not give up on reason just because it is hard. In our modern world of fake news and cynicism, it is easy to become a misologist, to say, everyone is lying. Facts don't exist. Socrates tells us to fight that urge. We must keep debating, keep thinking, and keep searching for the truth until our last breath. So, how do we apply the wisdom of a man about to drink poison to our Monday morning routine? First, practice micro-deaths. I don't mean hurting yourself. I mean practicing detachment. When you are hungry, can you wait an hour before eating? When you want to scroll on your phone, can you put it down? Every time you say no to a bodily impulse in favor of a higher goal, like reading, working, or meditating, you are practicing the separation of soul and body. You are strengthening the master, reason, and disciplining the slave body. Second, trust your inner database. Stop looking for all the answers outside of yourself. According to Socrates, you already know what justice, beauty, and goodness are. When you face a moral dilemma at work or in a relationship, don't just look at the data, look inward. Recall the standard of integrity that your soul already knows. Third, don't be a cynic. When you are disappointed by a politician, a leader, or a scientific theory, don't fall into the trap of saying nothing matters. That is lazy. Be like Socrates. Assume the truth is out there, and it is your duty to sharpen your mind until you find it. Integrity is refusing to give up on the truth. As the sun sets in the jail cell, the jailer brings the cup of hemlock. Socrates takes it cheerfully, without a trembling hand. He prays, and he drinks it. As the coldness creeps up his legs, reaching his heart, he speaks his final words. Credo, we owe a cock to Asclepius. Please, do not forget to pay the debt. Asclepius was the god of healing. You sacrifice a rooster to him when you are cured of a sickness. Do you understand what he meant? Socrates was not saying he was sick. He was saying that life, this confusing, heavy, bodily life, was the sickness, and death is the cure. He wasn't dying. He was healing. You don't have to be eager to die. But Phaedo invites us to live in a way where death is not a monster that steals everything from us, but a final graduation for a soul that has studied well. Live with that perspective, and you will be invincible.